Good afternoon, Facebook. This is Chelsea Clark coming to you from L&W Insurance. We're back again with Ask an Agent. I was able to wrangle up one of our agents, Matt Mayer, and he is actually celebrating his birthday today. So I was able to convince him to talk insurance with us on his birthday. I think that's a pretty good place to start. So I'm just going to fire away some questions at him so that we can continue with this series of learning a little bit. Bite-sized morsels of insurance that are completely digestible, and leave it open to you all to reach out to us and ask some additional questions if you need to. So the first thing I'm going to ask Matt is that his territory, where he's working, because even though our main office is in Dover and we are expanding down to Ocean View, we have a pretty good presence in northern Delaware and into Pennsylvania, and that is where Matt is spending the primary amount of his time. So I'm going to let him explain a little bit about that. Hi, Matt.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on my birthday, Chelsea.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. They say age is just a number, so I'm starting to learn that.
Yes.
As you mentioned, my territory is up north into Pennsylvania, Chester, Lancaster, Delaware counties. We see a lot of opportunity for L&W to grow from our roots in Kent and Sussex counties.
Absolutely.
Up into Newcastle County, as well as into those southeastern Pennsylvania territories. So that's where my focus is currently. I also do some work in Cecil County, Maryland.
Awesome.
So going west as well.
Oh, we're all over the place. Yeah, L&W is stretching our wings. So we've been putting out onto Facebook and asking everyone, can I tell you all for a second that I am not as fancy as Matt, and he got me a gimbal, which means that I can put my phone on it and it makes it so that my shaky hands aren't messing up the video, and that I can ask him questions back and forth and just touch the screen and flip it. We're all high tech here, or at least Matt's helping me to pretend to be. So we did get a question that came in from Facebook because we've been asking everyone to submit their questions. Anything that's on top of mind, that's come across you. We all have to deal with insurance at some point. It's an inevitable for all of our lives, whether it's business, personal, employee benefits, whatever. Everybody has to deal with it. So shoot us your questions. We want to be able to take them and answer them for you. And we did have one come in from Shiloh Harker and asked the question, why does it take longer to get a business insurance quote as opposed to a auto insurance quote or a personal quote? So Matt, fire away and answer for us.
So I really appreciate that question, because I think that some of the large auto insurers, I won't name them, but I think they have some pretty unique jingles that have stuck in people's minds. One that comes to my mind is the 15 minutes of your time can save you X% on your insurance. And I think that really hurt at least the commercial industry, because business insurance is a complex product to sell. Many carriers do not offer direct writing. Said another way, a business owner can't go to many of the commercial carriers that L&W has and get a quote from them directly. Right? They employ our help as an agency and our expertise to really go through the complexities of business insurance, right? It's our job here at L&W to really learn about you and your business, your past experience, and where the risk really does lie for your business. We then go out to our carriers, communicate that story of yours, to ensure that we have the proper coverage in place at the best possible price.
So one of the things that I think is really important when you do have an independent agency is the fact that we do get to be that in between, and we can be your storytellers. You tell us what you have, what your risks are, what your business is comprised of, and we get the opportunity to go out and say, hey, we're going to work with the company, we're going to tell your story, and we're going to pull together all the nuances of your specific situation and find you the best coverage that is what you need without going too far, but making sure that you're properly covered. Another question that kind of jumps to mind when you're thinking of business insurance is that there's oftentimes coverages that a lot of businesses don't always purchase because maybe they don't know about it or they don't feel it's applicable to their situation. So what are some of those, less common known coverages that are probably pretty important for business owners today? Flip.
That's a great question. There are two coverages that come to my mind. One being employment practices liability, commonly known in the industry as EPLI. That covers businesses against suits related to wrongful termination, sexual harassment, workplace bullying, or a hostile work environment. But what's important to also remember is this applies to volunteer organizations as well. Nonprofits,
Yes.
And those companies who do have volunteers could also come under fire for those types of suits. In addition, and more importantly, I think, is cyber liability. As cyber criminals become more adept at taking over businesses, networks, hacking into emails, etc., that exposure is really something to consider for business owners, both big and small.
So if you have businesses that perhaps don't do a lot of business online, they may think that's not necessary for them. So
Sure.
Does that make sense, or is it still a necessity that they should consider?
In my opinion, I think any business that has any type of online presence, whether it just be a website, especially if you do accept payments via online channels, you need to have some sort of cyber coverage in place. A lot of policies do have some add-in coverage, but most times I don't think that the limits that they offer are adequate for the amount of exposure that is out there.
Okay. All right. So if you were looking at things nowadays, and you're out there, you're doing marketing and looking at what are the best companies to work with, and what are the ebbs and flows in the marketplace, what would you say that you see as far as in the current marketplace, any changing rates, anything that you've seen that would be, a good piece of knowledge for business owners to have while they're shopping out or considering shopping out their coverage?
Sure. In Pennsylvania and Delaware, we recently saw a pretty significant decline in workers' compensation rates.
We like decline.
We do. However, on the other side of things, general liability, business auto, and umbrella rates are going through the roof. So it kind of is that ebb and flow that you mentioned. And on both sides, you need to make sure that the prices that you're seeing on your renewals, really do have you covered. It's also worth mentioning that don't always assume that last year's policy has the same coverages as this year's policy. This is especially important for, as we were mentioning, cyber liability. Because the insurance marketplace hasn't really figured out where the real risk in cyber lies, they're excluding things 1 year that they may have included in the policy the past year. So having a good agent who's really keeping an eye on your renewal as well as when they initially write your policy is very important.
That was a heck of a plug and a great way to end. Because it's true. Our job is to be able to look at your policy every single year. And having an independent agent on your side means that you're building a relationship and a partner who is going to continue to look at your specific case as often as possible to make sure that whatever changes you have going on in your business, we are also looking at that and making sure the policy matches that and grows with you. So that's all of our good little digestible insurance knowledge for today. We really appreciate anybody who is taking the opportunity to listen to this, and we want your questions. So please send us those questions. And next time we have this, I will bring in another agent who can help ask and answer some questions for you. And happy birthday to Matt one last time. All right, everyone, have a good Friday. Bye.